Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about naming and writing compounds with polyatomic ions in them. So, writing polyatomic formulas. Remember from our very first slideshow that a polyatomic ion are ions that are made up of more than one atom. Here are a list of common polyatomics. There is also a sheet attached to this document, and it's found in references as well. So you have ammonium and then the charge, hydroxide and then the charge, cyanide and then the charge. Notice all of these have more than one capital letter, which means there's more than one atom or element, and then it lists the charge. These do not need to be memorized. You can always have your polyatomic sheet out. Steps to writing a formula with polyatomics. First, we're going to cross down the charges, just like binary. We're going to use the parentheses around the polyatomic if the subscript is greater than 1. And then we're going to simplify our subscripts. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and write the charges on each of these. So I have H, Mg, Al, and NH4. H, I find it on the periodic table alone. So I know that the charge is whatever column it is in. H is in the first column, so it has a charge of +1. Magnesium is also a single atomic element. It is found on the periodic table in the second column, so its charge is +2. Al, aluminum, is also a single atomic element. So it is also found on the periodic table. Its charge, it's in that third group, so its charge is +3. NH4 is our first polyatomic that we have run into. So we need to go back and figure out what its charge is. NH4, as you'll see right here, its charge is +1. So then I'm going to go forward and write +1 here. Next, I have my anions up here. So these are all my cations because they are positive. My anions are on the top. I have Cn, which is cyanide. I'm going to go back and check that out. Cn, cyanide, is right here, -1. So I'm going to write -1. Chromate is the next one, CrO4. Go back and look at that. CrO4 has a charge of -2. PO4 is my last one. When I look at PO4, phosphate has a charge of -3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that up here. So looking back at our practice, or what we're supposed to be doing, cross down the charges, use parentheses around the polyatomic if the subscript is greater than 1, simplify the subscripts. So I have H plus, and Cn. I'm going to cross down my charges. We do not write the 1, remember. And then we have Cn. This is 1, so I do not need parentheses, and I don't write my 1. Okay. Magnesium is +2. Cyanide is -1. Cross down my charges. Mg, my subscript is going to be 1, so I do not write that. When I cross down my charge from magnesium to cyanide, it's more than 1. It's a 2. So I write parentheses, then my cyanide, and then my 2. Because I have 2 of the entire cyanide polyatomic ion, not 2 of just the carbon or nitrogen. That cannot be simplified anymore, so we are done. Next we have aluminum, its charge is +3, along with the cyanide, whose charge is -1. I'm going to cross those down. So my aluminum charge is still 1, but this +3 is going to be for cyanide. I need to put a parenthesis because I'm talking about the entire cyanide molecule, polyatomic ion. And it is, I need 3 of those. Next, I have ammonium, which has a charge of +1, and cyanide, which has a charge of -1. These charges are going to cross down. And because they're 1s, we do not write them. So it is just NH4Cn. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can do the rest of them on your own. Try to accomplish them. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am going to continue. Make sure you pause the video, try on your own, and then continue with your practice. So crossing here, I have H+, and then chromate, which is CrO4 -2. I'm going to cross those charges. So I have H2. 1 is my subscript for my CrO4. So I just write CrO4. Going down, I have magnesium, which is +2, and my CrO4, which is -2. When I cross them, I get Mg2, CrO4, 2. Because it's 2 and 2, they can be simplified, so it's going to be Mg, CrO4. Next, I have aluminum, which is +3, with my CrO4, which is -2. Cross my charges. I have Al2 with parentheses, CrO4, 3. Next, we have NH4, which is +1, and my CrO4, which is -2. I'm going to cross my charges. So I need 2 of this whole molecule. So I start with a parenthesis, NH4, 2. And then I have 1 of the CrO4, so I just write CrO4. For our last column, I have H plus and PO4. My H's charge is +1. My PO4's charge is -3. Go ahead and cross them. So I have H3 and then PO4, and it would be 1, but again, we do not write the ones. Okay. Next we have magnesium, whose charge is +2, crossed with my phosphate, which is -3. So I have Mg3. This is higher than 1, so I'm going to use parentheses PO4, 2. Next I have Al, whose charge is +3. Then I have my PO4, whose charge is -3. Cross those down. The 3 and the 3 can cancel out. So it's just Al, no parenthesis needed, PO4. Last example, NH4, charge is +1. And then we have PO4, whose charge is -3. Cross those down. I have 3 of the NH4. Now, NH4 is all together, so I need to show that by parentheses, and I need to show that there are 3 of this whole thing. So I put parentheses and then a 3. Then I have 1 of this whole thing of the phosphate, so it's just PO4. Now we're going to write from the name to the formula. So I have francium sulfate. So you may or may not know that francium is an element. It is on the periodic table. It is number 87. So its symbol is capital F, lowercase r. It's in that group 1A, so its charge is +1. Then I need to find my sulfate. Now, sulfate is not found on the periodic table, so we have to look at our list of polyatomic formulas. Sulfate is the SO4, and it's to the -2. Go ahead. SO4, and its charge is -2. And in my last column, I'm going to cross them down and write the formula. So it's Fr2, SO4. Stop the video, see if you can do the next 3 on your own. I'm going to continue on with answers now. Next, we have barium sulfate. Barium is on the periodic table. Its symbol is Ba. It's number 56. It's in group 2A, so its charge is +2. Then I have sulfite. When I look at my list, sulfite is SO3. Its charge is also -2. So I write SO3, -2. These are the same, so I know they're going to cross cancel each other out whenever I bring them down. So I know it's going to be BaSO3. Next, we have aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum, we should know, is Al. On the periodic table, it's in group 3A, so its charge is +3. Then I have hydroxide. When I look at my list of polyatomic ions, hydroxide is OH -1. So I go OH -1. Cross down my charges. I'm going to have 1 Al. I do not write the 1, but I have 3 of these OHs. OH is a polyatomic ion, so I have to write my parentheses. And I have 3 of those. Finally, we have ammonium phosphide. Ammonium is a polyatomic ion. Here's ammonium. It's NH4. Its charge is +1. Then I have the phosphide. Phosphide is just phosphorus. So I know it's P. And because it is in row 5A, its charge is -3. I'm going to cross those down. So I have 3 of the NH4s, so I need a parenthesis. And then I have 1 P. Finally, we're going to go from the formula to the name. So for these, you can look on your periodic table. Remember, cations are named first. Cations are named first, followed by anions. Okay. Remember the anions, if they're singular, they end in IDE. If monoatomic. So here we have SrSO4. Try to identify the polyatomic ion first. So we're going to look at our polyatomic ion list and look for either Sr or SO4. SO4 is sulfate, so I know that's my polyatomic. So what's the Sr part? Sr on the periodic table is strontium. And then I just list the name of the polyatomic ion, sulfate. Moving down, look at the whole thing, figure out which part's the polyatomic ion. I know aluminum can be by itself, so I know it's aluminum. Then my PO4 is the polyatomic ion part. Looking on my list, PO4 is named phosphate. So this is going to be called aluminum phosphate. When there's more than one, it makes it super easy because the parentheses are around the polyatomic ion. So I know the first part is just a monoatomic ion. So Ca is calcium. Then I need to figure out what the NO3 part is. NO3, it's named nitrate. So this compound is called calcium nitrate. Stop yourself, see if you can get the rest of them correct. Continuing on, this has a parenthesis, so it makes it super easy. We have the first part, which is radium. Then we have the PO4 part, we named over here, phosphate. Next, when we look at our next one, we have K and then NO2. K is potassium. The NO2 is nitrite. Next, we have NH4 and CN. So there are two polyatomic ions here. NH4 is the cation. It is named ammonium. And then CN, cyanide. Okay, I hope that was pretty clear for you. If you still have questions after watching this video, please feel free to message me. Make sure you either print out or have a paper copy of those polyatomic ions to refer to during your homework and continuing on. Like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a wonderful day.